After 11 years of being OKC's pitbull, and during the Durant trade, and becoming the city's beloved star, the triple-double machine is packing his bags for Houston, in exchange for CP3 and a series of draft picks. This trade makes Houston better in the regular season. In addition to a recent decline in his level of play, Chris Paul has struggled to stay healthy, missing over 20 games in each of the last 3 regular seasons. And Westbrook didn't miss a single game during his first 5 regular seasons. While he's had a history of some meniscus and other lower body injuries, he's still managed to play over 80 games in 3 of the last 4 regular seasons. A few obvious questions remain, and they're not about the regular season at all. After coming so close in the 2018 Western Conference Finals, and then promptly blowing it by missing 27 consecutive threes, and then losing again to a Durant-less Warriors team this past postseason, the Rockets are starting to resemble a great team that might just never get over the hump. Building an NBA team is very different from building an NFL team. Typically, the success of an NBA team largely depends on the number of elite players on that team. Injuries aren't as frequent in this sport, and the court is small enough to where, more often than not, you can't avoid the wrath and influence of the game's very best. Rockets GM Daryl Morey told the Houston Chronicle back in 2017 regarding his signing of Chris Paul that, quote, "Not only do you need the USA basketball team members to win games, you need them to go get and convince PJ Tucker to take less money than other teams are offering." While the acquisition of Russell Westbrook falls in line with this general theory, simply add as many of the top players in the world and figure it out later, it's a bit more complicated than that. What's really interesting about Houston's recent trade chip is that he's essentially a floor raiser, a player whose talents allow them to elevate mediocre talent to a respectable level, often a perennial playoff contender, but playing with another star may only produce marginally better results. Harden and Westbrook are 2 of the best players in the game, but they seem to both resemble floor raiser type players, which makes predicting their fit together somewhat difficult. ESPN recently had a statistic that stated that Harden and Westbrook were first and second in terms of how long they dominated the basketball per possession. And Harden actually took more shots during this previous season than he did in his first 3 years in Oklahoma City. Westbrook and Harden are both so used to dominating the basketball, so D'Antoni might be better served staggering their minutes so that either Harden or Westbrook are on the court at all times. Basketball is naturally a sport of egos, even for players fully bought into winning. It might actually be in the Rockets' best interest to let their 2 stars exist in their own little worlds, or at least try to find a healthy balance that prioritizes winning but also satisfies both Westbrook and Harden's desires to be the man. Both players' games revolve around the ball being predominantly in their hands, so ideally you need to maximize the amount of time where both players play the point guard role in the Houston offense, but also maximize each other's efficiency and contribute to minimizing their collective fatigue, which has been an issue for both players in the past. Russell Westbrook and James Harden have each tallied historically high usage rates since they've become the alphas of their respective teams. One might argue that James Harden, the better of the 2 players, should have the ball in his hands the most, with Russell Westbrook sacrificing more on his end. It's Harden's team, his town, and he shouldn't have to be the one that hands over the reins to a lesser player, right? Not really. The more I look into the situation, I think there's one solution and one solution only. Harden absolutely needs to play off of Westbrook, with Westbrook running the offense most of the time. Harden can run the offense, but what you absolutely cannot do is have Russell Westbrook spot up behind the 3-point line and space the floor for Harden. Harden and Westbrook ideally need to play the same role in this system for it to succeed, but in crunch time, Harden needs to play off ball way more than Westbrook does. The Rockets have the 3-point shooters necessary to make the most of Westbrook's passing off of drives. Eric Gordon and PJ Tucker rank near the top of the league in catch-and-shoot 3-point attempts, while each making about 38% of those attempts. And I think Westbrook maximizes lob opportunities to Capella, and more importantly, Harden would be better playing off ball than Westbrook would be in the same role. Harden's currently the better player, sure, but Houston's system doesn't work the same in the playoffs, as Harden's three-point shooting drops to 31% in the postseason over the past 3 years. Harden's production takes a substantial dip in the postseason, so why not try to utilize him in a different role? As an organization, you want to minimize Westbrook's deep two-point attempts and limit his attempts from behind the three-point line as well, all while maximizing his playmaking and attacking the rim. Additionally, extra effort from this duo on the defensive end could work wonders for their postseason aspirations. James Harden has improved as a defender in recent years, and there's no reason he can't continue to improve. He's strong, has extremely quick hands when swiping at the ball, and possesses really good instincts when jumping passing lanes. Reducing the load on Harden offensively could result in a more defensively oriented James Harden this season. Something else to consider. As a team, the Oklahoma City Thunder were in the bottom third in the league in three-point percentage each of the last 3 years. They were never able to adequately surround Russell Westbrook with shooters, and that's likely going to change in Houston, considering that the Rockets have ranked first in three-point attempts and an above league average in three-point percentage in that same time frame. While Westbrook and Harden are both high-level passers, I see Westbrook as the better distributor, considering his higher assist rate, his lower turnover rate, which, in my opinion, are both supported by what I've seen in games. Westbrook has these series of dump-off passes near the rim that I think Harden's also capable of doing, but he doesn't do them with the same frequency or overall effect, in my opinion. At the end of the day, this team just isn't going to beat either of the LA teams without maximizing the Russell Westbrook and James Harden duo. They're likely the third or fourth best team in their own conference, and it's desperation time for the Rockets. Their supporting cast is nice. You could play Eric Gordon at the 2, with either Harden or Westbrook playing point guard, or at the 3 if they're both on the court. The lineup of Westbrook, Harden, Eric Gordon, PJ Tucker, and Clint Capella is seriously dangerous, but yet so much of their potential hinges on how well Harden and Westbrook play off of each other. Even with all the questions remaining, I love this move overall because blowing up this team with James Harden still on it would make it highly unlikely for them to ever really compete again. The Rockets are really close, and it's worthwhile to squeeze everything out of this core as you possibly can. Even if they don't end up winning a title, this trade is a win because you're extending the title window of a team that's been knocking on the doorstep of the NBA Finals for a few years now, and at a very small cost. So much of the Rockets' success is up to Harden in particular. Take a step back. You can still score 27 points a game, not 36. You can still take a ton of threes, but you need to be more of a winning player, defensively, and be a bit more active off the ball. Harden and Westbrook don't have to kill themselves during the regular season anymore. They've already proven their dominance during those 82 games. This duo has made the finals before, of course with the help of Kevin Durant and Serge Ibaka, and that was before all of the MVPs, scoring titles, and All-NBA selections, so they'll have to put their egos aside in order for this pairing to truly work. James Harden's legacy, in particular, is going to be shaped by if he can win a title or not. Reshape the narrative and everything else will follow. The respect, the accolades, and the admission, even by those who hate your infamous play style, that you're truly one of the game's very, very best. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did in fact enjoy it, be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you haven't for future content, and maybe consider sharing with a friend. I know I've been on a bit of a break recently. There's not too much going on in the sports community, and I had a few other video ideas and scripts that I wrote that just didn't really manifest or feel quite right. I've got a little Fletcher Cox breakdown on the way, and I've been working on a pretty extensive NFL preview for this season, which will be coming out in mid-August. So definitely stay tuned for that, and for Simply Sports, I'm Andrew, signing off.